So they told you to save your money and you listened. But what if the very thing that you were taught to do is the reason you'll never get ahead? You cut back on takeout, you skipped the trips, you even built that little emergency fund in your savings account. You did everything right, just like you were told. So why does it still feel like you're falling behind? Here's the truth. You were taught how to earn money, not grow it. And that key distinction might just be the biggest financial scam in modern Canada, because the game changed a long time ago and nobody told you. That advice might have worked in the 80s when a brand new home would only cost 3 times the average household income and your savings account paid 8% interest, but that world doesn't exist anymore. Reality is, somewhere down the line, the math changed. Just like everything else in the world, wealth evolved. What used to work might not anymore. In the 1980s, the average new home cost about 3 times the average income. Today, 10 times or even more in most Canadian cities. And yet we're still told by schools, banks, and the government to just save more money. Let's put that to the test. You save $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 a year. Sounds great, right? But with 4% inflation, that $12,000 only holds $11,538 of purchasing power just 1 year later. So you're saving money and losing money at the same time. That's the illusion of security. And it is so incredibly powerful. You feel safe because your balance isn't changing, but quietly your money is worth less every single day. Meanwhile, people who spent their money, who bought assets, even during the chaos, even during a crisis, they got richer. Real estate, stocks, businesses, they all rise with inflation because when prices rise, the value of what they own rises too. By now, most people have heard about inflation, but the sad part is most don't know how or how much it actually affects them. So what actually causes inflation? Well, inflation means a general increase in prices and a fall in the purchasing value of money. Here's an example to put things into perspective. When governments announce billions in new spending, but don't increase taxes or cut costs, well, the money has to come from somewhere. So how are they going to get that money? Hello? Hey, do you want to lend us money? We'll definitely pay you back without having to borrow more later. Okay. So they just print more money. Now you've got more Canadian dollars in circulation, chasing around the same amount of goods and services. Demand goes up, prices go up, and your dollar suddenly buys less. That's inflation, and that's just one version of it. And here's the cruel part. The wealthy love inflation because, like I said, when the cost of everything goes up, so does the value of what they own. Their homes appreciate, their stocks go up, their businesses generate more revenue. For everyone else, it's a punishment. Groceries, gas, rent, everything rises. And for the average Canadian, it's devastating. Saving money isn't the problem, it's what you do with it. But isn't it insane that that's the part they don't teach you? Why? Why would they leave that out? Everyone knows saving money is good, but investing? That's where most Canadians are completely lost. A recent BMO study found that while Canadians are investing, only 1/3 or 33% say that they actually understand how. And 67% can't tell the difference between an RRSP and a TFSA. Isn't that crazy? 67%. And that's actually one of the main reasons that I've decided to start this channel. Look, I'm not here to shame anyone. I'm here to expose why the basics of money, inflation, mortgage interest, compounding, registered accounts, investment options, taxes, the very things that shape your entire financial future, ultimately shaping your life, are still so confusing for the average person. And if that's true, then why isn't it a bigger focus in high school before life gets real? There must be a reason, and that's why I call it the biggest financial scam in modern Canada. So let's break it all down. Who actually profits from this scam? Well, first, the gurus. They recycle old advice like just save 10% of your income because it sounds responsible, because it generates clicks, because it sells books, but it doesn't actually build real wealth anymore. Next up, the government. The less you know about making money, the longer you work, the more you pay taxes, and the longer you stay in the workforce, and the more they profit. Basically, the less you know, the more they profit. They also quietly benefit from inflation. Sure, the tax brackets adjust each year, but inflation pushes wages and prices higher across the board. More dollars are getting taxed, more dollars are being spent. Every dollar that changes hands, it's taxed somewhere. Your paycheck rises just enough to make you feel like you're keeping up, but in reality, your purchasing power barely moves. And then the government quietly collects more this year than they did the prior year. And finally, the banks. You deposit your money and they reward you with a safe, guaranteed 0.5%. And if you wanted to earn a little bit more while keeping it safe, then you have to lock it in. Meanwhile, they will lend that same money that you just deposited out to somebody else at 3, 4, 5, sometimes even above 10% if we're talking about a personal loan rather than a mortgage. They will always lend at a higher rate than they pay you, because if it was the other way around, they'd go bankrupt. So you save, they spend your savings, they profit, and pay you a super tiny little portion. And that portion may be subject to income taxes depending on how you have it set up. And the less you know, the more they profit. Wait a minute, that sounds familiar. Next up, the government. Basically, the less you know, the more they profit. So both the government and the bank profit more the less you know. Interesting. And I know this because I worked there. When I was a financial advisor at one of Canada's big banks, I saw it firsthand. If you have thousands of dollars sitting in your bank account, no one's gonna call you to warn you about inflation, but they will call to ask you to contribute more, because that's what gets counted. Advisors are evaluated on how much money they bring in. Now, whether your money grows or just sits there after the fact, it doesn't matter for them. Helping you save helps their results, their raises, their bonuses. So yeah, of course the bank loves savers, because your savings are their business model. Hey, real quick, before we keep going, if you made it this far, it means you actually care about building real wealth in Canada. If that sounds like you, then make sure you hit the subscribe button, because I promise you're not going to want to miss what's coming next on this channel. Let's jump back in. I'd just like to mention here that it's not all advisors, it's not all bankers that think this way. I've seen and worked with many that truly do put the client's best interest first, but never forget about Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Or in other words, as I like to say it, if it can happen, it will happen. So with all that, what should you do instead? By now, you should know that saving is only step 1. Wealth starts at step 2, and that's giving your money a job. Think of every dollar you save as an employee. If it's just sitting in your account, regardless of which account, it's not working. It's on paid vacation while inflation eats at your profits. And unfortunately, that's where most people stop. A TD survey found that while 65% of Canadians surveyed hold a TFSA, 39% of them are not investing the money inside it, rising to 41% for both Gen Z and millennials. BMO also found that 41% of TFSA funds sit in cash. And that's only counting people who actually opened a TFSA, not even those who still don't know what it is. So how do you invest the right way? Well, it usually comes down to 2 things: your time horizon and your risk tolerance. Now, usually the longer your time horizon, the more risk you are able to take. Let's break it down. In the short term, so 1 to 2 years, you want to stay low or no risk at all. Like if you need that money soon for a house or for a car and emergency fund, you cannot afford to lose some of it now. So keep it safe. High interest savings account, GICs, or money market funds. When you're thinking about the short term, your goal really is to protect your funds. Now, in the medium term, which is 3 to 5 years, I mean, this is the awkward middle ground. Like banks are going to tell you to go balanced or risk-free. That just means you're going to lose to inflation more slowly. Unless this is your down payment for a house, or you are nearing or at retirement, then you probably won't need 100% of every dollar in that account within 3 to 5 years. That gives you some room to take more risk smartly. And then the long term, which is 5 or more years, I mean, this is where the real game begins. This is where compounding really works in your favor. When you've got time, you can afford volatility. Index ETFs are a great starting point. Emphasis on the index part. Diversified, low cost, and built to mirror the market for a fraction of the cost of mutual funds. Instead of betting on one company or one industry, you're betting on the market itself. And historically, the market wins. For example, let's look at the S&P Toronto Stock Exchange Composite Index. It has averaged 10.11% annual returns over the last 10 years, and its 1-year return is 30.07% as of when I'm recording this. And if you want to mirror that performance, then check out this ETF right here, which mirrors the Toronto Stock Exchange with a management expense ratio of just 0.06%. It's practically free. And if you want to be more aggressive, you can explore some more growth oriented or growth focused ETFs that specialize in tech or AI or clean energy, or basically just one industry. Whatever you believe is going to be worth more in 5 to 10 years. You don't need to time the market. You don't need to be a pro. Just stay consistent. It's time in the market, not timing the market, that builds real wealth. The longer your money stays invested, the more it compounds. And that's when everything changes. If this video helped open your eyes even just a little, then make sure you hit that like button. It really helps the channel and I would truly appreciate it. And if you want to see what's coming next, then make sure you subscribe, because trust me, you're not going to want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.